Hi there, I'm Simon Thomas and you are watching Talk Norwich City.
Hello, I'm Chris Pajak from the Redmen TV. We've linked up with TalkNorwichCity's Jack Reeve, and we've decided to do a little bit of a kind of a formation show whereby I tell you what Liverpool have been playing this season and maybe how you can attack us, and obviously Jack over on our channel will be doing exactly the same, showing us how Norwich will be lining up and stuff as well. So just to see what we can garner from that information going into the match on Sunday. So what I've done, I've started us off actually in the 4-2-3-1 formation that we played against Stoke on the opening day and then against Bournemouth, both achieving 1-0 victories. It was quite solid at the back. We went with Simon Mignolet in goal. Nathaniel Klein, obviously our new signing, best right back in the league. Thank you very much. Martin Skrtel partnered with Dejan Lovren, and the new kid, the 18-year-old Joe Gomez, starting at left back over Alberto Moreno. Moving forwards, James Milner was partnered with Jordan Henderson, and then the three was Jordan Ibe, Phil Coutinho and Adam Lallana behind, again, another new signing, Christian Benteke. So, first two games of the season, the first game of the season against Stoke, we scored a wonder goal with Phil Coutinho, very late on in the game. Obviously got us the 3-pointer there. What was best about Liverpool's performances for me over the first two games was how pragmatic they were. You know, we defended resolutely, and we just looked to steal 3 points basically. And 2 years ago when Liverpool were good and we nearly won the league, that's exactly how we start. We start with 3-1-0 victories. And luck was on our side then as well. You know, Simon Mignolet saved the penalty actually against Stoke in the 13-14 seasons. We won 1-0 at Anfield. And look, you know, there was times during the Stoke game where we really ran our luck. What for me was the most interesting stuff though is Joe Gomez was absolutely brilliant in that first game. He had a great pre-season for us, but what he doesn't do is he doesn't get forwards enough. You know, he can be sort of quite... He's very defensive minded, and rightly so. He's an 18-year-old kid, but I think over the last few games we've seen people have really tried to exploit him now. Nathaniel Klein really does move forward really well for us here. Jordan Ibe was coming out, but what was really interesting is James Milner was a new signing for us, and it's really more about what his position is, because, you know, we were all worried about him being a centre midfielder. You know, the fact that he hadn't really done it since he played at Villa, obviously had a few years at Manchester City, but his energy levels, I mean, he's constantly out to press, but he's also getting in behind Nathaniel Klein here. So, you know, if Nathaniel Klein was to lose the ball, James Milner was automatically rolling out to this right back position, just covering for him really well. Jordan Henderson was probably a bit more of the ball playing midfielder in these two early games, in fairness. James Milner's average position was much higher up the pitch, but it was all pressing, and Phil Coutinho was pressing, Adam Lallana was pressing really well, Jordan Ibe as well, and Christian Benteke was doing as good as he can, although over the course of the game he was far too isolated, and that's something that we've seen from Liverpool pretty much all season so far. We've really not worked out how to bring Christian Benteke into the fold and get these players sort of buzzing around him and feeding off those headers that he does win. I mean, his aerial duels, his stats are absolutely fantastic for us so far, but we're just not doing enough with him. You know, Jordan Ibe is pretty much our only winger at the club. I'd be surprised if he was to start against Norwich, but if he did, you know, expect him to get down the wing and start whipping some balls in for Christian Benteke, because the way we've been playing with him at the moment, it's just not been good enough. I mean, the man's literally feeding on scraps. You saw probably his goal against Manchester United. It came from nothing. He basically made that himself. The ball just got looped up in the air and he came out with an absolute world-class finish. Moving on against Bournemouth, we stuck with the same formation, except we actually swapped it round, if I remember correctly. We had Lallana in the centre there, we had Jordan Ibe on the right-hand side, and we switched to Phil Coutinho on this side, which was quite interesting. Back four was the same, two in front, it was exactly the same, but we just showed that we could maybe, Jordan Ibe was cutting in a little bit more, you know, and Coutinho again, another good game against Bournemouth. Not much really changed though for us. You know, we got a 1-0 victory, but that was about it. We saw flashes of Roberto Firmino when he came on in these couple of games. looked really good. Since then, no, when he's been playing as a 4-3-3, which is the formation that we've moved to from the Arsenal game, he's just not looked as good. I don't know whether it's because he's lacking match fitness yet, but when you pay £29 million for somebody, to be perfectly honest with you, you expect a little bit more. So Roberto Firmino, for me, is still under the magnifying glass. I've seen flashes of absolute brilliance, but he's just not really done anything in the games other than that. So moving on, we moved to a 4-3-3. Lucas was moved in. This was in part due to a Jordan Henderson injury. So Lucas went in there. Lallana was also injured, so he was unavailable for selection, if I remember correctly. Milner and Chan, yes, we had that. And then we had Coutinho, Benteke and Ibe was the sort of 4-3-3. Now, this is the formation that, as a Liverpool fan, when we first played against Arsenal at the time, you know, that first half, we were out of this world. You know, we looked absolutely amazing. And it was the way that we got in and around Christian Benteke, and the passing and the movement was just so much better. And it's what we all wanted to see. So you couldn't blame Rodgers for then sticking with the 4-3-3 against West Ham. Or I couldn't anyway, because, you know, these two went forced to get as high up the pitch, if it were, but it was just the movement around here. Lucas Leiva came in, did a solid job as he always does, but unfortunately against West Ham we saw real limitations of this formation. Of course, we brought Roberto Firmino in on this side, and Phil Coutinho played on the left hand side here, so it was his first sort of big game for the club, his first start. West Ham at home, we're all thinking, come on, £29 million man, he's going to get on now. He got inside once and took an absolute worldie of a shot that hit the post from about 30 yards. But again, he was largely exposed. You know, what we wanted to see as Liverpool fans was Firmino and Coutinho, and pardon the sex pot of it all, but that's what he is to us now. We wanted to see him buzzing around Christian Benteke, and we just didn't see it. You know, Coutinho obviously went and got sent off in that game anyway, which meant that he missed the Man United game. But the midfield, I mean, it was so dire. Basically, what West Ham did really well was they played a centre-back at right-back. I think it was Cresswell. And we were thinking, you know, you've got to get at me here. Christian Benteke, Coutinho, all these type of players need to do it. But they just left the ball at Joe Gomez's feet and said, go on, Joe, beat us. And unfortunately, when we got further up the pitch, he just wasn't good enough to, you know, create something. And it's unfortunately what happened against Manchester United as well. I'll have to get the formation out for that one. Benteke, Coutinho was missing. We brought Danny Ings in for that game. Milner was with Chan back around the other side. Lucas. And the same back four. Now, Lovren had a couple of real bad mistakes against West Ham. You've probably seen it on Match of the Day. Over in this area of the pitch, and he was just awful. Gave goal away. Martin Skrtel didn't do enough anyway for one of the goals as well. But against Manchester United, the three most influential players for us, according to StatZone, were Nathaniel Klein, Martin Skrtel and Joe Gomez. And that's exactly what West Ham did to us as well. You know, they just let these players play with the ball at their feet and basically marked everybody else around this side. And unfortunately, we just haven't found an answer to that yet. So when we're looking at playing Norwich at the weekend, I expect you guys to do exactly the same. If Joe Gomez starts, I expect you to leave the ball at his feet and just make him beat you, because unfortunately for me, I don't think he can do that yet. Nathaniel Klein a little bit better, obviously, on the right-hand side, but his crossing's not quite been as crisp as you would expect so far. Roberto Firmino has largely been disappointing. Now, I'm not writing him off. You know, I'm not stupid, but you can be disappointed in a player. The start that he's made hasn't been good enough. Christian Benteke's been, as I've said, far too isolated at times. Against Manchester United, this was essentially our average positions, give or take. And it was just 2 banks of 5, and we got absolutely hounded in the centre of the park here. You know, you'd had like the experience of Michael Carrick, your Bastian Schweinsteiger, Juan Mata dropping inside, and they just killed us in the centre of the pitch. Now, we just didn't come out first half, and you know, we've got to right those wrongs against Norwich at the weekend. So anyway, there's a sort of few minutes on how Liverpool have lined up this season. I hope you can take something from it. I hope that you don't learn from it in any way, shape or form. Obviously, I want Liverpool to win. I think Brendan Rodgers will be under massive amount of pressure if we lose a third Premier League game on the bounce, and and if we do lose a third Premier League game on the bounce, then there'll be lots of Liverpool fans calling for his head. Anyway, let me know what you think of how Liverpool have played so far this season, what you think of the show in general, whether we should keep these type of collaborations going. I mean, I love Jack from TalkNorwichCity. I think he's absolutely brilliant. So thanks very much to Jack for letting me on the show. As I say, don't forget to subscribe to his channel. Don't forget to subscribe to Redmen TV as well, where we do loads of this type of stuff in loads more depth and detail as well. We've just done a 45-minute formation show on our website, redmentv.com. Anyway, don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up, and hopefully Liverpool beat you at the weekend. Ratings out of 10. I suppose I better start off by saying that I don't watch